Today's Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. It's currently 7:05 p.m. What is it that makes someone different? That makes them themselves? Is it how they look, what they think, their religion, their beliefs, their family, their ethnicity, what country they're from, where they go to school, who their friends are? What makes someone them? Because recently, I've kind of been feeling like I almost don't even have my own personality. And I don't know if there's anyone else out there that's feeling this way, especially in the very weird dystopian world that we live in where everyone wants to be the status quo, to be the normal, which is just deemed by society and social media, which is not chosen by the people themselves. Whether or not people feel that way or not, this is something that I think I'm realizing now that's kind of been affecting me a lot recently. The other day, I went to play pickleball with a friend of mine, and when we got there was a third friend of ours who was with friends of his, right? And this was a chance to meet new people, play some pickleball, just hang out. And although nothing necessarily bad happened, I didn't like embarrass myself or anything. I walked away from that whole evening just feeling like I was missing something, feeling like I just wasn't, almost like I wasn't even good enough to be there. Like I wasn't funny enough. I wasn't talkative enough. I feel like I didn't have a personality compared to these other people. And for the past few years, people have called me a quiet person, a nonchalant person, someone that's very reserved, maybe introverted at times. And I kind of accepted these qualities or these names as something that's just who I am, right? So something that's it's just who I am. Like I've always been that way, um, and I never necessarily thought of it as something bad or even something that I should even consider changing. But the more that I think about it, I can't really tell if it's just who I am or if I literally don't even have a personality anymore, right? Because it feels like it's only when I'm with specific people do I actually feel like I can be myself. And even when I am being myself, I don't even know if that's who I want to be, right? I don't know if that person that I am when I feel like I'm being myself, is that even myself or is that created by some other factors, some other environments or outside contributors that I have no business with, right? And I feel like this is gonna sound cliche to say, but I feel like social media is a big part of this, right? You know, it's almost kind of sad how I don't want to say me specifically, but a lot of people, and at times me as well, people's entire opinions are based purely off of what's trending or what's going on social media at any given moment. And there's no actual substance or pure opinion reserved for those people behind all of that, right? They kind of just look at whatever's online currently, and that's their entire opinion landscape. And I feel like to some extent, like that's kind of happening to me, right? And I don't know if this is something recent. I don't know if it's something gradual. I don't know if it's something that's kind of always been a thing since I've pretty much always been on social media since I've been a kid. But regardless, like I feel like this is kind of scary to wake up and realize. And I don't really know what to do about it because I want to find things that genuinely interest me. And I'll have times, and I've also had times in my life where I feel like I've seen glimpses of that. And just to give you an example, like a while ago, I went on a camping trip with my school, and there was a time where like I volunteered to cut up some wood so we could make a fire. And I don't know what it was, but doing all the getting the tree, or sorry, getting the wood, splitting it into pieces, preparing it for the fire, all that stuff, and then bringing it to the rest of the kids there. and being able to actually light a fire because of the work that I did, that feeling of like contribution and being dependable and reliable, that feeling felt very, very satisfactory and like natural in a way. And that's kind of just like an example of like a glimpse of something that I feel, or something that I don't know. And that's kind of just like an example of a trait or a an action that I think that I value, right? I felt good from it, so surely that means that's something that I want to continue doing. And I don't know, like I don't know how to keep finding these things that I truly deep down inside of me really appreciate and love doing and want to spend my life doing. And there are things that have not just been fed to me from narratives or propaganda or social media, but things that deep down like I actually want to do and I actually enjoy. And so I don't know, I feel kind of almost empty in a way, where like I'm almost like a ghost. Like I'm just like floating around, like I have no personality. I can just kind of absorb or mesh into whatever social landscape I'm in at any given moment, but I'm never truly someone unique or outstanding in any way socially, at least. And then there's also this whole thing where, you know, if you want to be someone or become something, you kind of just fake it until you make it, right? You know, I can go out there and start smiling to people and saying hello to every person I walk by, right? And try to change into being someone that is outgoing and someone that does have a personality. But how do I know what personality I even want to have, right? Like, who says that I necessarily want to be someone that says hello to every person I walk by? And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or that's cringe or anything, but I'm just saying like the underlying point is that even if I did want to change, even if I did want to actually become someone who has a unique personality and someone that is actually someone and not just like a body or like a husk of a person, how do I know what to do? How do I know who to be, right? And maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe I'm just completely blowing this out the park and it's not even that deep at all. And, you know, maybe just living alone for a while and not really having much social interaction is kind of making me think this way. But who knows? And I don't know. I think ultimately it's probably just gonna come down to experience. I think what I need to do is just do stuff, literally anything at all, and kind of figure out what I like and what I don't like. And from there, I'll actually be able to build a personality that is natural and is actually me, and it's not built upon something that's false or I don't know, kind of put onto me. Or at the same time, I could also be overthinking in a completely different way, where maybe these examples where I felt empty were just not actually the people that I want to be around, right? Who's to say that I have to get along with everyone or, you know, kind of match personalities with everyone that I come across? Of course, there's bound to be people that I don't resonate deeply with, especially especially like the first time meeting someone, right? And yeah, maybe I'm just overthinking that aspect of it. But I do think there is some aspect of emptiness and shallowness that I've been kind of unaware of recently in these past few years. And I think recognizing this will kind of allow me to step back and look at my thoughts, look at my actions on a day-to-day life, especially socially, and kind of reconsider whether these are actually my thoughts and actions or whether I've kind of been subjugated into doing these things just through exposure on social media or propaganda or anything of that sort. And I think the most ironic part is like me sitting down making this video is kind of an example of this entire thing. Like, do I actually want to make these videos, or am I doing it because I've seen other people do it and I think of it and I kind of see it as I don't know, something virtuous or something valuable to be doing. Like I said, like it's just gonna come with experience and me doing these videos, me sitting down here in front of a camera and just talking. right? Sometimes with a script, sometimes without, sometimes every day, sometimes not every day, right? I think doing that is the experience that I need. And like who knows? Maybe this is something that I will continue. Maybe something that I won't. But ultimately, it's the experience that's gonna matter. Just figuring out what it is that I like and I don't like. And I think that's the most important part. Thank you for listening. See you next time.